A black briefcase clicked open on white marble. Inside, 10,000 in cash and 3 velvet jewelry boxes. Hannah Gibson was 27, a pediatric ICU nurse from Atlanta. Black, beautiful, calm. She'd worn her best burgundy dress because her mother-in-law had texted her one line, "Come talk as family." There was no food on the table. Her husband, Kang Min-suk, was the youngest boss of the Kang syndicate in New York. They called him Snow Wolf. A black dragon tattoo coiled up the right side of his neck, half hidden under a crisp white collar. He was supposed to be in a meeting across the city. The Kangs didn't know he came home early. They didn't know he was standing behind the kitchen wall. They didn't know he could hear every word. His father pushed the briefcase toward Hannah. 2 million if she signed. 4 million if she stayed quiet forever. His mother smiled and said they were offering her an elegant way out. His sister sipped wine and waited. Hannah looked at the money. Then she looked at the door her husband should have walked through hours ago. She had no idea he was already there. And what she said next, with her hands shaking and her voice steady, would unmake the Kang name from the inside. Before starting the story, comment down below where you are watching from and what time it is there. If stories of karma, love, and hidden truths move you, leave a like, be sure to subscribe to the channel, and click join to become a member and help our channel. Hannah read the text for the 4th time before she set the phone face down on the vanity. Come talk as family. Sunmi had never used that word with her, not once in 2 years. She tightened the twist braid near her temple and held her own eyes in the mirror longer than she needed to. The burgundy dress was already laid across the bed. She'd chosen it the night before, then taken it off the hanger twice to check the seam at the waist. Min-suk had told her once that wine made her look like she belonged in old paintings. He'd said it the way he said most things. Half a smile, no follow-up. She stepped into the dress and pulled the zipper up by herself. The penthouse was quiet around her. He'd left at 6 for a meeting in Flushing that was supposed to run all day. He'd kissed the back of her neck before he went and told her not to skip lunch. He hadn't asked where she was going. She hadn't told him. The handbag was on the side table, the small black one with the structured frame. She put her phone inside, then her keys, then the thin folder with the marriage certificate. She didn't know why she packed the certificate. She put it back on the shelf. She picked it up again. She put it in the bag. In the elevator, she practiced the smile she'd give Sunmi at the door. Small, closed, polite. The smile she gave to women who had not yet decided to like her. The driver knew the route. The Kang house was 32 minutes from the building on a Thursday morning. Hannah watched the river through the window and let her shoulders drop 1/2 inch at a time. They had asked her over. That was new. That was something. The gate opened before the car reached it. The housekeeper held the front door without speaking and stepped aside. The foyer smelled of lilies and the cold polish of marble that was kept too clean to live on. Hannah followed the sound of voices down the corridor toward the kitchen. She'd expected food. There was always food in this house. Banchan in small white dishes, a kettle on the induction, fruit cut into wedges no one ate. There was none of it. The marble island was empty except for a black briefcase laid flat across the center, brass corners catching the overhead light. Dae-sung stood at the far end with a glass of red wine he had not yet touched. Sun-mi stood beside him in dark emerald silk, her chignon precise, her hands folded one over the other at her waist. Yuna sat on a stool at the corner, one leg crossed over the other, the wine glass already half down, her thumb working the rim. No one said good morning. "Hannah," Sun-mi said. "Sit, please." Hannah did not sit. She set the handbag on the marble beside her hip and put both hands on the counter so they would not shake. "You came alone," Dae-sung said. He looked at the briefcase, not at her. Min-suk had a meeting. "We know." She caught it then. The way Sun-mi's mouth held still after Dae-sung spoke. The way Yuna's eyes lifted to her mother for a half-beat of permission. The smile she'd practiced in the elevator died somewhere behind her teeth. "We're offering you an elegant way out," Sunmi said. The kettle was off. The fruit bowl was empty. The housekeeper had closed the corridor door behind her, without a sound. Hannah heard her own voice, and was surprised it came out level. An elegant way out of what? Of a situation that has gone on long enough. Dae-sung lifted his hand to the briefcase. 2 clean clicks. He turned it on the marble so the open lid faced her. The cash was in straight bands, the kind banks gave you when you withdrew in cash, and they pretended not to look. $10,000 in hundreds, stacked along the left side. To the right, 3 velvet boxes, lids tilted open, a pendant, a bracelet, a ring she did not recognize and did not want to. This is a gesture, Dae-sung said, for your trouble, for the years. It's been 2 years. That is why we begin small. Hannah did not move her hands from the marble. Sunmi took 1 step closer. She had a way of moving that made her seem taller than she was. If today goes well, we are prepared to wire $2 million to an account of your choosing before the weekend. You will sign a document. It is brief. It says you will not contest, you will not contact, you will not speak publicly. You will return to your life, and we will return to ours. And my husband will be told what is necessary. Yuna lifted the glass and did not drink from it. $4 million if you are quiet about it. Her voice was the voice of a woman ordering a coffee. Mother is being generous. I told her 2 was enough. Hannah looked at the cash. $10,000 sat there like a small bright insult. The kind you put on top of the real number so the real number sounded reasonable by comparison. Down the long corridor, on the far side of the kitchen's marble side wall, the side door from the garage clicked shut. None of them heard it. The man who had just slipped through that door had come home 3 hours early and was now standing very still, his hand flat against the cool stone, listening to his mother say his wife's name. Min-sok did not step out. He closed his eyes once, then he kept listening. Dae-sung's thumbs clicked the brass latches of the briefcase open in unison. The lid lifted with a slow hydraulic hush, and the kitchen light fell on the inside in 2 flat rectangles. Hannah did not lean forward. She did not need to. The cash was banded in fresh straps, 10,000 on the top tray, stacked with the unbothered neatness of something rehearsed. Beside it, 4 velvet jewelry boxes sat in a row, lids angled up just enough to show what they wanted her to see. Sunmi spoke first. Open them. Hannah didn't move. Yuna reached across the marble with 2 red-tipped fingers and flicked the lids back one by one. A gold cuff, a diamond solitaire bigger than the one already on Hannah's left hand, a pair of jade and pearl drops, a choker of South Sea pearls so heavy it sagged its own velvet bed. These were chosen for your skin tone, Yuna said. We did try. Hannah looked at the jewelry the way a doctor looks at an injury. Quickly, without flinching, then away. She looked at Sunmi instead. 10,000 is a tip, Sunmi said. Walk into the elevator and the number changes. 2 million wired before you finish your coffee tomorrow. Sign the discretion clause, and it becomes 4. The number landed, and Hannah felt the floor of her stomach drop 2 inches and catch. She kept her hands on the strap of the small black bag in her lap. She kept her shoulders where they were. The trick was to not let them see the drop. $4 million, Dae-sung said, is a generation of stability for a young woman from your background. He said your background the way another man might say your condition. My background is Atlanta, Hannah said. Not a charity. Yuna laughed once into her wine. Atlanta, right. Sunmi raised one finger and Yuna stopped. This is not punishment, Sunmi said. This is mathematics. You came into a structure that was built before you were born. You did not know the structure. Now you know it. The mathematics offers you a soft exit. And if I don't take the soft exit, then the structure adjusts around you, Sunmi said, slowly, quietly, until there is no shape left for you to stand in. Hannah's right hand left the strap of her bag and went, on its own, to the thin gold band on her finger. She did not turn it. She just touched it. Beyond the marble sidewall, In the corridor that fed the staff entrance, the side door opened on a hinge that had been oiled that morning. Min-suk stepped through and pulled it shut behind him with the flat of his hand so it would not click. The meeting in Hannah had ended 40 minutes early. He had come home to find her here. He had heard his mother's voice, the way a hunter hears a wrong sound in a familiar forest, and he had stopped 2 strides into the corridor. His name, her name, a number. He did not step out. He pressed his back against the cold marble and let the dragon on his neck sit hidden against the stone. He had taught himself, at 23, that you learn more from the room you are not yet in than from the one you walk into. He listened. Inside, Dae-sung was already reaching for the second tray. Underneath the cash sat a slim envelope, cream paper, no markings. He laid it on the marble and slid it 3 inches toward Hannah with one knuckle. A pre-signed lease, he said. 2-bedroom in Jersey City, 12 months paid. The name on the door will not be Kang. You will not need to explain yourself to anyone. And my husband? My son will be told you chose to leave, Sunmi said. He will be angry for a season. Men of his temperament are angry for a season. Then they are practical. You'll lie to him. We will spare him. From me. Sunmi tilted her head a fraction. From the conversation. Behind the wall, Min-suk closed his fist once at his side. He did not open it. Hannah looked down at the envelope on the marble. She looked at the jewelry. She looked at the cash. She looked, last, at the small black bag in her own lap, with its inside zipper pocket, and the receipts from the grocery store on 96 still folded inside. You think I'm the kind of woman who would take this? We think you are a smart woman, Sunmi said. Smart women take soft exits. Then you don't know what kind of woman I am. Yuna set her wine down a hair too hard. The stem sang once against the marble. Oh, sweetheart, she said. We have a whole file. Hannah's chin moved a 1/4 inch. A file. Your mother's address in Decatur, Yuna said. Your father's pension. The clinic where your sister works night shifts. The car your brother is 3 payments behind on. The principal of your old high school. We were very thorough. Sunmi did not look at Yuna. Sunmi looked only at Hannah. She is being indelicate, she said. I would have phrased it differently. But the file is real. In the corridor, Min-suk's jaw locked so hard the muscle jumped under the smooth skin of his cheek. His hand went to the inside pocket of his jacket on reflex, and stopped there, flat. Not yet. Not the move he wanted to make. The move he wanted to make would end 3 lives in the next 90 seconds, and one of them would belong to the woman who was sitting at that marble island refusing to break. He closed his eyes once. Then he kept listening. Hannah did not look at the envelope again. She looked at Sunmi and let the silence sit between them, long enough for the wine in Yuna's glass to stop swaying. Pick up your file, Hannah said, and tell me what you're really afraid of. Sunmi did not pick up the file. She slid it 2 inches to the side, the way a surgeon clears a tray before the real cut. The 4 velvet boxes still sat open on the marble like small mouths. The 10,000 in cash was still stacked between them. Behind the side wall, Min-suk had not moved. His shadow did not reach the kitchen floor. You think this is about fear, Sunmi said. Her voice had changed. The honey was gone. What was left was the porcelain underneath. Let me correct you, Hannah. Dae-sung set his wineglass down. The stem made one small clean sound against the marble. He looked at Hannah for the first time since she had walked in. He did not look at her face. He looked at the side of her braids, the gold hoop at her ear, the wedding band on her finger, as if cataloging items to be returned. My son, he said. Let desire lead him. Desire and rebellion. The two have always traveled together in him. Hannah felt the word desire land on her shoulder like a hand. She did not shrug it off. She kept her chin level. He is a Kang, Dae-sung continued. There is a shape a Kang wife takes. There is a way she stands beside him at the table in Seoul. There is a way her name reads in the paper next to his. You do not have that shape. You will never have that shape. This is not an insult, it is a measurement. Yuna laughed once into her wine. The laugh was small, perfectly trained, designed to be heard. He'll get bored, you know, Yuna said. She did not look up from her glass. Men like Minsuk do not get bored slowly. They get bored on a Tuesday. He'll wake up one morning and the novelty will have a smell, and he won't be able to wash it off him. And then he will come home to a woman who matches the wallpaper. Hannah's hand did not tighten on the briefcase handle. That was the discipline she had left. Her hand stayed exactly where it had been, 2 fingers on the leather, the wedding band catching the kitchen light. Sunmi stepped 1/2 step closer. You don't fit the Kang image, she said. The sentence was flat. It was the sentence she had been holding behind every other sentence for an hour. It isn't your skin alone. It is what your skin carries into a room of men who decide things. They will look at you, and then they will look at my son, and then they will not return his call. That is the math. He has not done the math yet. We are doing it for him. Behind the wall, Minsuk's jaw moved 1 fraction. He did not step out. He had decided to listen. He was keeping the decision. You speak of him, Hannah said, as if he is a contract you signed before he was born. He is, Sunmi said. The kitchen held that word for a second. Taesung lifted his wine again. Yuna shifted on her stool. Sunmi tilted her head, almost kind, the way she tilted it at charity galas before she wrote the check. Hannah, her tone softened on the name, and the softness was worse than the porcelain. We are not cruel women. We are practical. You are a beautiful young woman. You will be a beautiful young woman with $4 million. There is a life waiting for you that does not require you to stand in a room where every person counts the inches of distance between your shoulder and his. That life will be kinder to you than this one. We are offering you kindness in a language you can deposit. Hannah did not answer for a long moment. Something inside her chest finished closing. It had been closing slowly since Sunmi's text 2 days ago. Come talk as family. It had been closing since she put on the burgundy dress at the vanity, since she had practiced in the mirror the small, grateful smile of a daughter-in-law who had finally been called in. It had been closing since the moment she stepped into this kitchen and saw no food on the marble. Now it was closed. The hope was a small, dry thing at the bottom of her ribs. She felt it stop moving. She felt where it had been. She did not cry. The discipline of her braids, the discipline of the wedding band, the discipline of her mother's voice in her head saying never let them see the inside. All of it held. Her eyes did not even shine. That was the part Yuna would later remember and not understand. You called me here, Hannah said, to tell me I am a stain you are willing to pay to remove. We called you here, Sunmi said, to give you a door. You called me here, Hannah said, because you cannot tell him to his face. Daesung's pinky ring tapped once against his glass. Yuna's mouth opened, then closed. Sunmi did not blink. Do you really love my son that much? She asked. The question was meant to sound merciful. It sounded like a trap with the spring already sprung. Hannah looked at her. She looked at Daesung. She looked at Yuna, who was finally looking back. She did not answer yet. Behind the wall, Minsuk closed his eyes. He was waiting too. Hannah set her small black handbag on the marble. She placed it beside the open briefcase, beside the 10,000 in cash, beside the 4 velvet boxes. She placed it the way a woman places a stone on a grave. Then she lifted her chin and breathed in once, slow, all the way to the bottom of her lungs. The way a woman breathes who knows the next sentence she is about to speak is the sentence that will decide what kind of woman she is for the rest of her life. Sunmi waited. The wine in Yuna's glass did not move. Hannah opened her mouth to answer. I love the man he is when he's not carrying you people on his back. The sentence landed on the marble like a coin dropped from a height. Sunmi's jaw set. Daesung's hand tightened around the stem of his wineglass. Yuna's smile finally cracked, just at one corner. Behind the side wall, Minsuk closed his eyes. He had heard every word. The bribe, the price tags. his mother calling his wife a stain, his father blaming desire and rebellion, his sister predicting his boredom like a weather forecast, and under all of it, Hannah's voice, steady, refusing to spend. He did not move yet. He needed her to finish. Hannah was not finished. "You called me here to talk as family," she said. "There is no food on this counter. There is a briefcase." She placed 2 fingers on the lid and pushed it. The case slid across the marble, past the jewelry boxes, past the stacks, and stopped at the inside edge in front of Sun Mi. "Take it back." Sun Mi did not look at the case. She looked at Hannah's hand, at the thin gold wedding band, catching the kitchen light. "You are making a mistake, dear. I have made the mistake of coming when you call me. I will not make it twice." Yuna let out a small laugh, brittle as ice in the glass. "She'll come back. Women like her always come back when they understand the price." Hannah turned to her. She did not raise her voice. "Women like me carry our own price, Yuna. We don't ask anyone else to pay it." She lifted the small black handbag from the counter, tucked it under her arm, smoothed the front of the burgundy dress with one slow pass of her palm. The twist braids brushed her shoulder when she turned. She walked to the side door, the same door, though she did not know it, that her husband had slipped through 40 minutes before. The latch clicked behind her. For 3 seconds the kitchen held its breath. Dae-sung set his glass on the marble with a deliberate sound. Sunmi exhaled through her nose, the closest thing to relief she allowed herself. "That," she said, "went better than I expected. She'll fold by the weekend," Yuna said, already lifting the wine to her mouth. "Mark me." Dae-sung reached for the lid of the briefcase to close it. Min-sok stepped out from behind the wall. He did not slam the door. He did not raise a hand. He walked into the kitchen the way he walked into every room he owned, without hurry, without sound, and the temperature of the marble seemed to drop. Sun Mi saw him first. Her wine glass stopped halfway to the counter. Yuna's smile died mid-sip. Dae-sung's fingers, still on the lid of the case, did not move. "Min-soka," Sun Mi said. The endearment came out thin. "When did you? What was my wife's price?" His voice was quieter than they had ever heard it. The dragon tattoo showed at his open collar, a fine black line climbing his neck. He did not look at his mother. He looked at the briefcase. "Answer me, Idoma." Sun Mi tried the old smile, the one that had ended 100 arguments at this counter. "We were protecting." "What was the number?" Dae-sung straightened. "Son, this is family business. Sit, have wine. We will discuss." 4 million. Yuna said it. She said it the way she said everything. Bored, glossy, certain her name would catch her. 2 if she stayed quiet. 4 if she signed. It was generous. Min-sok looked at his sister for the first time. He held the look until the wine in her glass began, finally, to move. He crossed to the marble island. He lifted the briefcase by the handle. He did not open it. He did not close it. He carried it to the side door, the door Hannah had used, and set it down on the threshold with the lid still open, the cash and the jewelry boxes facing the hall, facing the elevator, facing every staff member who would pass before sunrise. Then he came back. "From tonight," he said, "this house no longer carries the Kang name in any contract I sign. The construction line moves to my wife's name by morning. The Jeju Port concession follows by Friday. The accounts in Busan close at noon." Sun Mi's hand went to the pearls at her throat. "You cannot." "I can." He turned to his father. "You taught me one thing well, Abeoji. Never let someone set a price on what is yours. Tonight you set one on my wife." Dae-sung's mouth opened. Nothing came out. And Min-sok walked past them, past the briefcase on the threshold, past the door his wife had closed without knowing he had heard her defend him in a room that had never defended her. In the underground garage he found the black SUV still warm. He did not call the driver. He drove himself. Hannah was 3 blocks from the building, walking, the nude heels in her left hand, the wedding band catching the streetlight on her right. She had not cried. She was not going to cry tonight. She heard the car pull alongside her before she saw it. The window came down. He did not say a word for a long moment. He just looked at her, and she saw something in his face she had never seen at that mansion, in that kitchen, in any of the rooms his family owned. "Get in," he said. "I heard you." She stopped walking. The braids brushed her shoulder when she turned to face him. "All of it?" "All of it." She put one bare foot on the running board, then the other. The Kang penthouse stayed dark behind them. The briefcase stayed open on the threshold, where every passing servant would see it. By morning, the name on every contract would be hers. By morning, they would understand the price. If you want to watch all the stories without any ads and also get access to bonus scenes, extended epilogues, and exclusive spicy chapters, head over to our Patreon. Scan the QR code on the screen. The link is in the description or in the pinned comment. See you there. If this story moved you, stop for a moment and reflect. Have you ever sat across from people who smiled at you while sliding an envelope across the table, pretending money could cover what they really thought of you? Have you ever defended someone you love out loud, not knowing he was close enough to hear every word? And if a briefcase landed in front of you tonight, would you have the courage Hannah had to push it back? Tell us your experiences and feelings in the comments. We read them all. And if you believe in stories about dignity, loyalty, and hidden love, leave a like, be sure to subscribe to the channel, and click join to become a part of our community and help the channel.